The 11th of July, 1942. Akutan Island, Aleutians. Fog clings to the tundra like a shroud. A U.S. Navy PBI Catalina circles low, and the crew spots it, a gleaming Mitsubishi A6M0, belly flapped in the Greshton, but otherwise almost untouched. The pilot, Tadayoshi Koga, lies dead beside it, neck broken on impact. He had been trying to reach a prepared landing strip. Instead, he handed the United States the keys to the Pacific sky. Within weeks, the plane is crated, shipped south, rebuilt. The 20th of September, 1942, North Island Naval Air Station, San Diego. The morning sun burns off the marine layer. Lieutenant Commander Eddie Sanders climbs into the cockpit of the enemy fighter, now wearing American stars. The canopy slides shut with that distinctive Japanese greenhouse clatter. He fires up the Nakajima Saki engine. The exhaust stubs bark blue flame Sanders, takes off, climbs, then throws the Zero into a tight turn, so tight his vision grays at the edge. The airplane feels alive, almost eager, like it wants to loop forever. He rolls, dives, climbs again. The thing turns on a dime and gives 9 cents change. But then he pushes harder. He fires the 20mm cannons at a sleeve target, and the lightweight wing spars groan. He fires the machine guns full deflection, and the fin skin ripples. No armor, no self-sealing tanks. One good burst from a .50 caliber. And this beautiful bird becomes a torch. Sanders lands, kills the switches, and just sits there for a moment. Hidetsuka knows exactly how to kill it. Across the field, in Grumman's Long Island offices, Leroy Grumman and his engineers have been waiting for this report. They have the test data. They have the wreckage photos. They have the measurements. Grumman slams his fist on the table. Hell? This is it. We don't need to outturn him. We need to outlive him and out-hit him. The order goes out. Bigger engine, the biggest Pratt & Whitney double Wasp available. 2,000 horsepower. Armor plate behind the pilot, armor glass. Self-sealing tanks with CO2 purge. 6.50 calibers with 400 rounds apiece, because 4 wasn't enough anymore. Folding wings, yes, but the widest, toughest landing gear ever put on a carrier fighter, because this thing is going to be heavy and it is going to come home shot full of holes. They call the prototype F6F-1. It is ugly, it is fat. The fuselage looks like a beer barrel with wings. Test pilots take one look and nickname it the Flying Manhole Cover. But Grumman just grins. Good, he says. Let the Japanese laugh. They won't be laughing long. By January 1943, the first production F6F-3s at a rate that staggers the mind, one every few hours. Pilots climb in, feel that monstrous engine shake the airframe, and they start smiling the kind of smile men get when they know they've been handed a sledgehammer meanwhile across the Pacific. In the humid ready rooms of Rabaul, veteran Japanese aces flip through grainy reconnaissance photos of the new Grumman. They see the thick torso, the blunt nose, the stubby wings. They burst out laughing. Saburo Sakai, 37 victories already painted on his tail, flicks the photo with a finger. Look at this pig, this fat, flying brick. It will drop like a stone the moment we turn with us. They have given up trying to dance. They built a truck with wings. Laughter echoes through the room, confident, contemptuous, certain they have no idea that the truck is already on its way, and it is bringing hell with it. The 31st of August, 1943, dawn over the Central Pacific. USS Essex, the first of the new Essex-class carriers, steams into the wind flight. Deck lights glow red. The catapult hisses. Lieutenant Commander Jimmy Flatley, commander of BF-5, lifts off in F6F-3. The Lorry. Behind him, 35 more Hellcats claw into the sky, engines snarling like angry bears. Their target, Marcus Island, a Japanese listening post. Intelligence says light opposition. They are wrong. At 25,000 feet, the Hellcats level off. The pilots flex their fingers inside thick leather gloves. No one speaks much. They've all heard the rumors about the new plane, how it wallows and turns, how the Zero will eat it alive. Some of them believe it, then the radar operator on Essex breaks the silence. Bandits, many bandits, bearing 280, Angels 22. Flatley keys the mic, voice calm. Okay, boys, here we go. Tally-ho. And suddenly they're there, 40 Zeros, sleek and silver in the morning sun, climbing hard to meet them. The Japanese pilots see the big Grummans and do exactly what they always do. They split into pairs, roll inverted, and come screaming down in their favorite vertical spirals, expecting the Americans to try to turn with them. They have no idea the rules just changed. Fleetly never turns. He rolls the Hellcat on its back and dives straight through the middle of the formation. 6.5 OS hammering tracers the size of baseballs saw through a Zero's wing root. The lightweight fighter snaps in half, spinning away, trailing burning fuel. Another Zero latches onto the tail of a young ensign named Hamilton Mac McWhorter. The Japanese pilot is good, very good, staying just outside the Hellcat's turn radius, waiting for his shot. McWhorter hauls the stick into his gut, grunting against the G, but the Hellcat bleeds, speed fast. The Zero closes. Then, McWhorter does something no Wildcat pilot could ever do. He shoves the nose down, picks up 400 knots in seconds, then yanks back into a vertical. Zoom climb the Zero. Can't hope to follow. At the top he flips over, dives again, and now he's behind the Japanese. 6.5 OS cough once. The Zero disintegrates all across the sky. The same scene repeats. Zeros try to dogfight the way they've done for 2 years. Hellcats refuse to play. They boom, they zoom, they slash in pairs, they take hits on armored windshields that would have incinerated a Wildcat, and they keep flying. When a Zero finally lands hits, the Hellcat pilot just grunts, turns the airplane, and comes back shooting 28 Zeros fall in less than 20 minutes. The Americans lose one Hellcat. Pilot rescued back aboard to Essex that night. The ready room smells of sweat, cordite, and pure disbelief. Pilots stare at the gun camera film in silence. One clip shows a Zero trying to turn inside a Hellcat at 300 knots. The Japanese plane stalls, flips, and the Hellcat simply flies past it and shoots it in the belly like swatting a fly. Someone finally says what everyone is thinking. My God, they're obsolete. The Zero is obsolete. Word spreads like wildfire through the fleet. Pilots, who had been terrified of the legendary Japanese fighter, now beg for combat air patrol. Maintenance crews paint shark mouths on the big blunt noses. Armorers load belts of armor porcing incendiary rounds until the ammo bays groan. 8 cross the slot at Rabaul. The laughter has stopped. Severo Sakai sits alone in the operations hut, studying the after-action reports. 40 planes sent up. 12 came back. He closes the folder slowly, feeling something cold settle in his chest. He has seen the future, and it is blue, and it is coming for him. May 1944. Trug Lagoon lies shattered. Its once mighty anchorage a graveyard of sunken carriers and rusting wrecks, the Imperial Japanese Navy has retreated west to the Marianas, licking its wounds. In ready rooms carved into the volcanic hills of Saipan, Tinian, and Guam, a new generation of Japanese pilots listens to their instructors. Many are barely 20 years old, pulled from universities after only a few months of training. They sit wide-eyed as veterans, like Saburo Sakai, now grounded with eye damage, and Hiroyoshi Nishizawa, still flying, still lethal try. Nishizawa stands at the blackboard, chalk squeaking. The new Grumman is slow in the turn. Do not try to loop with it. Use altitude, use the sun, use your lightness, hit and run. The young pilots nod, but their eyes betray fear. They have heard the stories from Rabaul and Wake. American fighters that refuse to die, that soak up 20mm cannon shells and keep boring in, guns blazing. They call the Hellcat the Blue Wall. On the flight line, ground crews work by lantern light, coaxing tired Zeros back into the air. The planes are patched with sheet metal and prayer. Engines misfire from bad fuel. Ammunition is rationed. Experienced pilots are down to single digits. For S Squadron, yet Tokyo still believes. Admiral Izawa still believes. Operation Ago, the decisive battle, is set for June. The combined fleet will lure the American carriers into a night surface fight, while hundreds of land-based aircraft swarm from the Marianas and overwhelm the enemy escorts. The Hellcats will be busy, spread thin, and the mighty Yamato's 18.1-inch guns will finish the job. Across the ocean, in the wardrooms of Task Force 58, American pilots laugh at the intelligence summaries. They're going to throw 400 planes at us from the islands alone, someone says. good, saves us flying all the way to Japan. On the bridge of USS Lexington, Vice Admiral Mark Mitscher lights another cigarette, eyes narrowed against the smoke. His radar screens are the best in the world now. His fighters are fueled, armed, and stacked 3 deep on every deck. His pilots average over 500 hours each. The Japanese replacements have 100 if they're lucky. He says only 4 words to Captain Burke: let them come. The 15th of June, 1944. The invasion of Saipan begins. Hellcats strafe beaches at dawn, then climb to patrol altitude. The sky is impossibly blue, the sea glittering below like shattered glass. At 095, the radar plot on you out from Guam. 400 miles of open water, over 300 aircraft, maybe more. The biggest air battle of the war so far is heading straight for the fleet. In the Hellcat cockpits, pilots pull on oxygen masks, check gun sights, tighten shoulder straps. No one is laughing now. The controller's voice crackles, calm and almost bored. All VF, this is Red Base. Vector 270, Angels 25. Many bandits busted. Engines roar to full military power. 400 blue fighters climb west into the sun. Wingtip to wingtip, a moving wall of steel and horsepower. The Japanese are coming in perfect formation, confident, almost ceremonial. They still believe the Zero is king. They are about to learn what happens when kings meet extinction. The first wave hits the Hellcats like a swarm of silver hornets. 69 aircraft, mostly Ceros and Vols, in perfect pre-war VIX of 3, climbing hard out of Guam's rote field. Their pilots have been told the Americans are still busy over Saipan. They are wrong. Lieutenant Commander Charles Rabaul, leading the Lexington's BF-16, sees them first. Tiny black specks against the white fluff of cumulus. He did not say much, just watch his gun switch to live, and pushes the nose down. Bower divisions of Hellcats, 16 planes, roll in from 28,000 feet like blue thunderbolts. The Japanese never see them coming. Brewer picks a lead 0, closes to 300 yards dead astern, and squeezes. 6.5 OS Spitfire. The Zero's fuselage erupts in orange flashes, then simply folds in half. The pilot never touches his stick. He just falls away, still strapped in, arms spread like a crucified doll. Below him, the sky dissolves into chaos. Zeros break in every direction, trying to bring their superior turn rate into play. It's what they've trained for their entire lives. But the Hellcats refuse the dance. They dive through, zoom back up, roll over the top, and come down again. Always faster, always shooting. Ensign Wilbur Webb finds himself behind a Val fixed-gear dive bomber, doing a pathetic 180 knots. He closes so fast he almost rams it. One short burst, and the Val becomes a fireball that drops straight into the sea, trailing black smoke. American voices are calm, almost conversational. Got one smoking, going down. Watch your 6, there's a Zikai. Splash 2. The Japanese radios are pure panic. Screaming, crying. Some pilots simply stop transmitting mid-sentence. In 8 minutes, the first wave is annihilated. 53 Japanese planes gone. The Hellcats lose 2, but this is only the appetizer. 11:37 a.m. The second raid, bigger, 120 planes, comes in from the south. Same story. Hellcats waiting at 30,000 feet. Combat power set, water injection, hissing. They drop like falcons. Another 41 kills in 12 minutes. By early afternoon, the sky over the Philippine Sea is a slaughterhouse. Burning aircraft fall in 1s and 2s, then in entire formations. Japanese pilots who managed to bail out are strafed in their parachutes by enraged Hellcat pilots avenging Pearl Harbor wake and every friend lost in 1942. One American pilot, Lieutenant Junior Grade Alex Brashew, thumbs his trigger 6 times in 8 minutes. 6 Zeros explode. He runs out of ammunition, then coolly flies through the middle of the stunned Japanese formation, waggling his wings, as if to say, "Come and get me." Nundo. On the Japanese side, the few survivors limp back to Guam with stories that sound insane. One pilot reports seeing a single Grumman shoot down 7 planes in a single pass. Another swears the Americans have invisible escorts guiding them from above. By 3 p.m., the tally is complete. Of 373 Japanese aircraft launched that day. 240 are destroyed in the air. Another 50 are shot down trying to land on wrecked carriers that night. Total losses, over 90%. The Americans lose 29 planes, most to fuel exhaustion on the long flight back, not enemy action. 3 Japanese carriers will be sunk the next day, but the air battle is already over. The Imperial Japanese Navy's Pilot Corps, the elite that conquered Asia in 6 hours. Back aboard the carriers that evening, Hellcat pilots sit on the catwalks, legs dangling over the edge, staring at the sunset. No one celebrates. They're too tired, and something about the scale of it feels almost shameful. One young ensign finally speaks what every man is thinking. They never had a chance, not even one. Far away, in a darkened room in Tokyo, Admiral Azawa receives the final report. He reads the numbers once, then again. Then he quietly folds the paper, places it on the desk, and stares at the wall for a very long time. The age of the zero is over. The age of the Hellcat has only just begun.
The 19th of June, 1944, 1942 hours. Task Force 58 flight decks. The last Hellcat touches down on USS Enterprise. The deck crew catches the hook. The plane jerks to a stop, and the pilot just sits there. Engine winding down, hands trembling on the stick. Lieutenant J.G. Robert Buchan of VF-10 has 6 confirmed kills today. His gun barrels are still glowing dull red. He didn't climb out for a long time. All around him the same scene repeats. Young men who were laughing and horsing around this morning now walk like ghosts. No one cheers, no one slaps back. They just stare at the deck, at the blood and oil streaked across their cockpits, at the neat rows of .50 caliber casings rolling in the scuppers like Bryce hail. In the ready room below, the intelligence officer pins up the final board. Japanese aircraft launched, 473, carrier and land-based combined. Fewer than 35. American aircraft lost in combat, 23. American pilots killed, 6. Someone whistles low. Someone else starts crying quietly in the corner. Captain Jimmy Flackley, the old man at 38, Stanneman. We just killed Japanese naval aviation. It's gone. Forever. Across the fleet, chaplains hold impromptu services on the hangar decks. Jewish pilots, Catholic pilots, Protestant pilots kneel together under the wings of airplanes that still reek of cordite and destinguam in a shattered hangar at Old Road Field. A handful of survivors gather around a single working radio. They listen to the American broadcast on an open frequency, calm voices giving grid coordinates, weather reports, baseball scores from the States. Then a pause. Then a voice in perfect Japanese. To the pilots of the Imperial Navy, you fought bravely. You have nothing to be ashamed of. The war in the air is over. Go home to your families. The Japanese pilots look at each other. No one speaks. One by one, they walk out into the tropical night and sit beneath the palm trees, staring at the stars. Some cry. Some simply fall asleep where they sit, too exhausted, even for despair. In Tokyo, Emperor Hirohito is woken at Old 30 enters the chamber, carrying a single sheet of paper. He bows, places it on the lacquered table, and waits. The Emperor reads the casualty figures in silence. When he looks up, his voice is very soft. So, the sky no longer belongs to Japan. There are none to give. In the months that follow, the Hellcat becomes a legend and a curse. Japanese training schools are ordered to stop teaching dogfighting entirely. New pilots are told simply to ram if they get close enough. Kamikaze is born not from fanaticism alone, but from the cold realization that no amount of skill can defeat the blue wall anymore. American pilots, meanwhile, begin to hate the Hellcat a little. Not for what it is, but for what it forces them to become: executioners. They fly mission after mission with almost no opposition. They strafe airfields where teenagers in brown uniforms scatter like frightened birds. They shoot down transport planes full of nurses. They come back quieter every time. One night in August 1944, David McCampbell, already the Navy's leading ace with 34 kills, sits alone in his stateroom aboard USS Essex. He opens a letter from home, reads it once, then folds it carefully and places it in his breast pocket. Then he takes out his logbook and writes a single line. "Today I killed 3 more boys who never should have been in the air. God forgive us all. The Hellcat will go on to claim over 5,200 victories. 75% of the Navy's total air-to-air kills in the Pacific. 19 of its pilots will become aces in a single day. They will escort B-29S over Tokyo, hunt kamikazes above Okinawa, and land on carriers in typhoons that would have shredded lighter aircraft. But for the men who flew it on the 19th of June 1944, it will always be the airplane that ended a war in one afternoon and stole something from their souls they can never name." The fat flying brick did exactly what Leroy Grumman promised. It didn't just win the sky, it closed it forever.